To begin the program this afternoon, I would like to invite Lysistrata, the Senior Vice President of Corporate Relations and Community Empowerment for Univision Communications, to join us for a few comments. Evalisa? Thank you.
I was hoping for some salsa, but it's okay. I'll take that. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Thank you, Luis, for your kind words and for your leadership to the CHCI alums, just like Alejandra Ceja, who's receiving the 2015 Medallion of Excellence for a Distinguished Alumnus. Congratulations, Alejandra, on this very well-deserved recognition. We are proud to join you today at CHCI's Education Luncheon and to support this great organization. As a mission-driven company, Univision is committed to inform, entertain, and empower the Hispanic community in America. And we believe that promoting education is one of our most important responsibilities. Univision's education initiative is America's longest-running media education campaign on the air today. Since 2010, we have partnered with many national and local organizations, including CHCI, to increase Hispanic students' high school completion and college readiness. The campaign has reached millions of people across the country, and to date, our company has donated over $100 million in airtime for public service programming. Let me share some highlights for this year. More than 100,000 have attended our education fairs across the country. 50,000 students and parents have attended virtual college fairs and financial aid workshops. 45,000 people have taken our Early Childhood Development Pledge, and more than 70,000 have visited our recently launched Clave al Éxito, the country's first and only mobile-friendly digital tool designed for Latino parents to help them better engage in their child's education. In fact, we are right now in the middle of our Univision Contiguo's 5th annual Education Week. Be sure to tune in to some of our amazing education stories we are profiling in all our programs. In closing, I would like to once again thank CHCI and all our partners for helping Univision reach so many Hispanic families so they can have access to the information and resources necessary to receive a quality education, which is paramount to the future of our community and certainly to the future growth of this country. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, Evalisa and Univision. I don't know about most of you, but I don't know what to do with my Saturday nights anymore. Don Francisco's not there, so more House of Cards, I guess. Before we continue, once again, thank you, Univision, and thank you, Evalisa, for your continued support. I would also like to thank Apple, who are supporting our programs this year as well. So thank you, Apple. Feel free to use your iPhones today. In transitioning into the technology piece, now I would like to invite Natalia Rodriguez, who's a software engineer at Indicative, to tell us a little bit about why she is a Tecnolo Chica. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. It's a pleasure to be here. As a first-generation Hispanic student, this luncheon is especially dear to my heart. So I've recently graduated and relocated to New York City to embark on the first steps of my career as a software engineer. My starting salary is higher than the average Hispanic household income. However, the personal benefits surpass the numbers. This career allows me to be challenged creatively and technically every day, working to solve meaningful problems. It has also enabled me to be part of this amazing campaign by Televisa and NCWIT, and it has given me the opportunity to teach girls how to code with robots at Connect Ed schools. I want all of these opportunities for other individuals like me. It is expected that by the year 2022, there will be 1.2 computer-related jobs. Today, Hispanic women represent only 1% of the field's workforce. By the year 2050, 26% of the US population will be comprised of Latinas. The Tecnolochicas campaign aims to change the face of the computing workforce by encouraging young Latinas and their families to explore a future in technology. We ask that you please join us in sharing the Tecnolochicas campaign among your constituencies. The short video you are about to see will give you a glimpse into the lives of 5 Latinas who, with hard work, dedication, and support, have built a future for themselves by choosing a career in technology.
Hi, my name is Jessica Santana, and I'm one of the co-founders of New York on Tech.
My name is Madeline Martinez. I'm a software engineer that develops storage information systems.
Everybody told me that I was going to be able to do whatever I wanted, just to try hard, and I could do everything.
I lived in Logansport, Indiana, since I was 1 year old with my parents, and that's where I grew up.
So my parents, born in Mexico, in Durango, Durango. I went to elementary school here, high school here, and I ended up studying computer science while I was in college. Hola, chicos.
Yeah, I have technology at the touch of my fingertips.
If you have a dream, you have to go for it. Work really hard and go for it.
I think technology is innovative, it's fast-paced, it's always evolving.
I can go work in technology, building an app for education, building an app to do many things.
It's very fun to work with this computing and find out how to set up everything.
I'm a woman in technology, but I also know that I bring different things to the table. I bring a different perspective.
The technology changes so fast.
You're going to be part of the future if you do technology. You have that opportunity, and if you want it, it's yours.
I am really, really glad that I could make my dreams true.
You're probably using a computer right now to see this video.
I am Latina.
I'm a Latina.
I'm a Latina.
And I love technology.
Love technology.
Thanks, and have a good luncheon, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Natalia. All right, our first keynote speaker today, this afternoon, is an American labor leader, attorney, and educator. She is the president of the American Federation of Teachers, AFT, and vice president of the AFL-CIO. She's the former president of the United Federation of Teachers. In her leadership of the AFT, she has worked to put educational reform on the national agenda, to change how teachers are evaluated, and to provide all students with access to the education and services that they need. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten. Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Hola. Thank you for having me here today, and I would especially like to thank Representative Linda Sánchez and Esther Aguilar, who are rocking CHCI. And I also want to thank and honor our honoree here today, Alejandra Ceja, who you will see in a little while. But let me talk seriously for a few minutes. Over the past few months, unconscionable myths, flat-out lies have been spread about the Hispanic community, and in particular, the Hispanic immigrant community. Why? To drive hate through the hearts of the American people, to distract policymakers from the urgent need for comprehensive immigration reform, to score cheap political shots, frankly, in a primary that is quite different than what's going to happen in the general election. You can look at Facebook, you can look at Twitter, you can open a newspaper, turn on a TV, and you hear the surround sound hate. And I've often thought in horror, our kids are hearing it too. What about students like Marco Antonio Quiroga, who addressed AFT's Teach conference a couple of years ago, who is in this country doing well, going to college because of the DACA program? or young people from our Brooklyn International High School who through project-based instruction learned English and are now on track to go through college. And frankly, and this is probably the most important thing I'll say, as a granddaughter of immigrants myself, I would bet many of the people who are spreading these lies trace to immigrant roots. And when you trace to immigrant roots, you cannot take that ladder of opportunity, you cannot pull it up after you. You must make sure it is rooted. That is what the American dream is about. That is what Emma Lazarus said in the poem on the Statue of Liberty, and that is what my union will do and fight for every single day. So we hope that the Fifth Circuit Court decision will come out the way it should. We hope that the president's executive order will be intact. We will work to make sure DACA and DAPA expands. But even if not, we will fight shoulder to shoulder with you to stop this hate and stop this xenophobia. It is just plain wrong in the United States of America. And the second thing I wanted to talk about in my brief time is that it's not enough to make our shores open. We need to do more. We need to make sure that when people come and stay, there is real opportunity. Not just that opportunity is lifted, but there is real opportunity and there's a real ladder of success. What if we could make every public school in America a safe haven? What if we could block hate? What if we could ensure that kids are engaged and provided with the tools and supports they need to succeed in life, career, college, and on a path towards citizenship? And so what we're trying to do as an AFT is work particularly with our Hispanic community. 1 out of every 4 public school students in the United States are Hispanic. Over 5 million public school students are English language learners. 3 in 4 public schools enroll English language learners. Tens of thousands of unoccupied refugee children need a high-quality public education, and they need us to focus on ELL as a mandate and as something we must do for children. And so, I want to just give you a couple of examples of how we're trying to do that. This is a couple of things that the AFT have been working on. A few weeks ago, when the Department of Education and Department of Justice released an English language learner toolkit to help states, school districts, and educators be better equipped, the AFT was part of working on that toolkit. Our ELL 101 professional development course is intended to help educators all over this country who need basic information and tools to begin meeting the needs of ELL learners have that in their classrooms and have that support. In the oft-botched implementation of the Common Core standards, it neglected so much of the needs of ELLs. And so what we did is we stepped up, and with dues money from our members, we created 2 Common Core projects that we did from our Innovation Fund, one in Albuquerque, New Mexico, one in Poughkeepsie, New York, to produce model lesson plans and resources for teachers of ELLs. Our website, Coloring Colorado, is now the largest and most comprehensive online resource for educators and parents of ELLs. It started with just 400 users, and there are now more than 2.3 million. And through our partnership with First Book, we are making sure that low-income students have books to read at home in both English and Spanish. That's just a start. The other thing we're trying to do is fix, not close, struggling schools. We're trying to create interventions, and when we do this right, as we have done in Lawrence, Massachusetts, or in Philadelphia, you see a community coming together. But we can't do it alone, and one of the most exciting things that's happening is that we are on the cusp of getting a reset in terms of the national education law. We need to fix that law to make sure that it maintains equity, but also really focuses on ELL learners. We need to maintain a focus on subgroup accountability so no children are lost, but we have to stop this test and punish focus and focus on support and improve schools. The bottom line is, the promise of public education is a promise that should go for all people, all kids. And that means hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, we need to work together to make sure all our kids, particularly our Hispanic kids, have the dream that they want to dream and have it accessible so that they can have the America that they want and need. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. And before I get off the stage, it's my honor to introduce someone with a big heart that frankly needs very little introduction at this luncheon. When President Obama and Arne Duncan came into office, we were in the midst of a great recession. We're grateful for the stimulus money we all fought for. It does feel so long ago, 2008, but that became a crucial lifeline throughout the country in schools that were suffering from crippling budget cuts. He's been a fierce advocate to lower student debt, to protect students from predatory practices by for-profit colleges, to provide equity for low-income children, to expand early childhood education, and to highlight the importance of teacher leadership and career and tech ed. And frankly, as many people know, while Arne and I don't agree on everything, I am really very sad that he's leaving. I know he's going back to Chicago to be with his family, but this man, every single day, thought about and thinks about the children of these United States, and particularly to our most vulnerable and the kids that really need to make sure they have a great public education. So without further ado, Secretary Arne Duncan.
Doing all right?
Yeah, how are you?
Thank you so much. Please give another round of applause to Randi Weingarten for all of her hard work. She's been a fantastic partner, and I'll be very brief, let you get to lunch in a minute. First, I know she'll have a big award later, but let's give also a huge round of applause to Alejandra Ceja for all of her leadership. I just want to say she's been an amazing partner, and her leadership with the White House Initiative for Educational Excellence for Hispanics, it's a small but unbelievably mighty team, and the work that they've done over the past 5-6 years is extraordinary. It's a big month celebrating the 25th anniversary of the initiative. They've highlighted bright spots, places of excellence around the nation where wonderful things are happening for Latino children. They have a series of commitments. I don't want to get ahead of myself. They're going to come out next week from the private sector that are very serious. I think will make a huge difference. Also next week on Thursday, October 15th, there's going to be Latinos Achieve National Day of Action. It will be a big, big day. So please stay tuned. And again, I can't think of a more deserving honoree than Alex. And just her heart for her team, her heart for kids, her heart for the nation, and the difference she's made in a relatively short time is pretty extraordinary. This fight that Randi talked about and that we all believe in is not just for better educational opportunity, and that's absolutely at the heart of it, but it's also a fight for social justice. And it's a fight to give kids a chance in life. And we know today, if young people drop out, they're basically condemned to poverty and social failure. There are no good jobs out there. And we have to do everything we can to help our young people not just graduate from high school, but go on to college. And I thought I'd just sort of give you a brief update as to where we are and the work that lies ahead of us. On the early childhood side, and the results are mixed. There's a lot of hard work ahead of us, to be clear. On the early childhood side, we are thrilled to have invested north of $1 billion in states that want to provide access. Everywhere I go, I talk about that being the best investment that we can make. But the flip side is there's still waiting lists in so many places where I go around the nation. We have so much further to go. And relative to other advanced countries around the world, we rank somewhere between 25th and 30th in providing access to high-quality early childhood education. That's not something we should be proud of. And today, only about 20%, 1 in 5 Latino children ages 3 to 5 have access to high-quality pre-K. So it's not enough. It's not acceptable. We have a lot of hard work to go there. On the K-12 side, very, very good news to report. The nation's high school graduation rates are at all-time highs. Latino high school graduation rates have skyrocketed. Dropout rates have been cut in half over the past decade. So huge progress there. More and more young people getting that high school degree, that high school diploma, and that's so important. And then thanks to lower dropout rates and higher high school graduation rates, we have more than 1 million additional students of color enrolled in college since 2008. So very significant progress there, and thrilled to see how hard folks are working and how seriously they're taking their own education. Having said that, we know we have so far to go. And the Latino college graduation rate has doubled over the last 2 decades, over 20 years, but it's doubled from 8% to 15%. Well, we can clap, but long way to go. And my point is, we can't wait another 2 decades and say, let's double again, and we'll be only at 30%, 1 in 3. And so we have to find ways to continue to get better faster and to accelerate the pace of change. And so the work ahead for me is very, very clear, and I'll just sort of talk about what has to happen. We have to find ways to continue to raise that high school graduation rate as close to 100% as possible, get that dropout rate down to 0, and not every 2 decades, but every couple years, we need to be doubling the Latino college graduation rate. It's 8 to 15%. We need to go to 30% very quickly, to 60% very quickly. And if we do that, what it'll mean for our nation is extraordinary. The strength of our country and the strength of the Latino community, those things are inextricably linked. We cannot be a strong nation if we don't do a better job on the education side. We have to challenge ourselves every single day. We have to continue to provide more access to high-quality early childhood education. Far too many of our babies start kindergarten at 5 years old, a year to 16 months behind. And frankly, we don't do a great job of catching them up. And I think you can draw a pretty direct line from those 3- and 4-year-olds coming to kindergarten not ready, and eventually our high school dropouts, and those that might be incarcerated down the road rather than being productive citizens. So we have to accelerate the pace of change. We have to invest much more heavily in early childhood education. We have to make sure we get financial aid to our undocumented students. And the fact that as a nation, we have yet to do that is an absolute travesty. As a nation, I just think what we're doing is absolutely backwards, and we cut off our nose to spite our face. And I think of young people who, this is their country they've grown up in, it's the country they love, they've worked hard, they've gotten great grades, they've been community leaders, they've contributed, and the fact that we don't give them the chance to go to college makes no sense whatsoever. We have a number of states that have stepped up, there are a number of private foundations and philanthropy that's helping, but we are nowhere near where we need to be, and as a nation, we have to break through. And then the final thing I'll say, which isn't directly related to education, but I think it is that as a nation, we have to take on this issue of gun violence. And the number of young children around our nation who are growing up in environments where they don't feel safe, where they're scared, where they're worried about will I grow up, not when I grow up, if I grow up. It's absolutely unfair. And whether it's my hometown of Chicago, or whether it's Aurora, Colorado, or whether it's most recently in Oregon, there's a level of death that our nation has accepted that simply isn't accepted in Australia, in Canada, in England, in Japan, in other countries. They just don't accept it, and their children grow up with a much greater sense of security, a sense of being cared for, and a chance to be successful. So I want to thank all of you for the hard work you're doing every single day to make a difference. Very, very proud of the progress that we've made collectively, but it's not a time to slow down. It's not a time to become complacent. It's a time to accelerate the pace of change. Let's double and double again those college graduation rates. Let's exponentially increase the number of children with access to high-quality early learning opportunities. Let's make sure that our students who work hard have a chance to go to college and pursue their dreams. And let's build safer communities. And if we do that, it won't just lead to stronger families and a stronger Latino community. It will lead to a stronger nation, and that benefits all of us. Thank you for your hard work. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for honoring Alex today. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Duncan. Thank you to the Teachers of America. Special shout out to the public teachers in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And we all know if you can make it in Rhode Island, you can make it anywhere. So now the part we've all been waiting for. It's time to enjoy your food. First of all, let's thank our servers this afternoon. And actually, the best way you can thank them is by making their job easier. So please, try to minimize your movement as they serve our meals. Thank you so much. Buen provecho. We'll be right back.
Alejandra is a dedicated, passionate public servant. She believes in the promise of education.
She does a ton of work and is part of a team while she leads and provides the vision for it.
She's someone who doesn't forget where she's from, doesn't forget her community, doesn't forget her people.
While Alejandra Ceja's roots trace back to Michoacán, Mexico, she was brought up in California. The stigma surrounding immigrants and bilingual education in her state sparked Alejandra's quest for policy that guarantees Latinos a seat at the table. In 1996, Alejandra moved to Washington, D.C. to take part in CHCI's prestigious Public Policy Fellowship.
Alex and I were in the same CHCI Fellowship program in 1996. When I met her, instantly really liked her. She has this warm feeling, and we had quite a few adventures together, personally and professionally.
Alejandra went on to occupy prominent roles in education policy. Then in 2013, Alejandra was appointed to serve as the executive director of the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for Hispanics.
Alejandra's really been an important, powerful voice for the president and for our administration. She really connects the president's policy agenda with the lives of our Latino community and our Latino families across the country.
As a founder, former president, and active member of the CHCI Alumni Association, Alejandra has played a pivotal role in strengthening the network of more than 3,200 CHCI alumni across the country. She is also an inspiring and dedicated mentor to an increasing number of students and young professionals.
Her work itself is what motivates others who see how she changes her community. And that's the empowerment that she brings. It's through her work and through just her personality itself. And that's what motivates me to want to become someone like her, honestly.
For her dedication to ensuring that all Americans have the same opportunity to pursue their dreams and gain access to the best education possible, Alejandra Ceja is awarded the CHCI 2015 Medallion of Excellence for Distinguished Alumnus.
Ladies and gentlemen, podium on here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct honor to recognize as our 2015 CHCI Medallion of Excellence for Distinguished Alumnus Award to Alejandra Ceja.
Well deserved.
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Esther,
Thank you so much.
your photo.
Thank
Stand
you.
over here behind, away from the podium, next to Luis. There we go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias por este reconocimiento. Qué orgullo ser hija de padres inmigrantes, ser una mexicana y representar a mi comunidad. I hadn't seen that video, so I want to thank Gabriela and Roberto Rodriguez and everyone who was instrumental in putting that together. For me, this is a symbol of what other Latinos can achieve and accomplish when they get their education and when they have the full weight of their community behind them. I almost did not accept my fellowship because insecurity crept in. I was afraid that I wasn't worthy of this opportunity, that I didn't have the best education, that I didn't come from the best community. And my mother, who is here today and who recently became a U.S. citizen, She is the one that inspired me and encouraged me and pretty much pushed me out the door and said, this is an opportunity and this is what we've worked for. And it's the story of many immigrant families, and many of you can relate. The sacrifices that our parents, our grandparents made to get us to this point where we could have access to opportunity, access to a quality education. And so today I lead a White House initiative that is fighting to make sure that our kids have the opportunities they deserve, that they have access to a high quality education. And when I first thought about taking this position, I wanted to stir up the status quo a bit because many people told me that the White House initiative was very ceremonial, and I disagreed. We have done, over the past 2 years, a lot to motivate the field, to encourage them to invest in Latinos. The Latino community, the Latino student, that's our best asset. And so I'm proud to work with a team that is so dedicated to helping our students dream big. And I get to go into communities and I get to share my story and I get to share the resources that are available for our Latino students. And recently we were in Memphis, Tennessee, unveiling a $12 million commitment to support our dreamers. We were in Chicago unveiling a $3 million commitment to support early learning. We were in California unveiling a $1 million commitment to support financial literacy. That is the role of the White House initiative, not to conform to the status quo, but to think outside of the box. What does our community need? So it's an honor for me to stand up here and represent my community with honor and dignity, represent the legacy of the founders and the members of Congress that fought for this leadership program. And I want to dedicate this award to my mom because it was her encouragement that got me here. I want to dedicate it to all those immigrant parents out there that are fighting day in and day out for their kids to have a quality education. And I want to let the current class of CHCI fellows know that there is some false advertisement here. It's not a 9-month experience. It really is a lifetime journey. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to represent CHCI, to represent my community, and to lead this White House initiative. Thank you all so very much.
Excellent. Now it's my pleasure to introduce and welcome to stage CHCI's Vice Chair, Cristina Antelo.
Hi there. Hola, ¿cómo están? It's my pleasure to introduce a special guest today. He's a man who has a legacy of nearly 2 decades of public service. And in that time, he has highlighted significant policy work on major issues of taxation and homeland security. And along with those efforts, he is known for his determination in bringing people together of different beliefs and backgrounds. He served as the 68th governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia and is currently running for the 2016 Republican presidential nomination. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Governor Jim Gilmore. Sure.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to have an opportunity to be here with you today. I appear to be the only Republican candidate for president who turned out today, and I am glad that that's the case. I'm glad that I'm here. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today about a topic that's been widely discussed and I think would be of great interest naturally to this organization at CHCI, and that's the issue of immigration reform. But first, I'm going to tell you a few additional things. I know this is a critical problem. It affects our economy and our national security and our personal freedoms. But first, you don't know me all that well, so let me just mention to you that I am the former governor of the state of Virginia, the former Attorney General of the state of Virginia, a former elected prosecutor. I'm a United States Army veteran, and I know of the wonderful service that the Latino citizens of the United States serve in the United States military across the world today. Ladies and gentlemen, our country has been struggling for decades to find the best way to handle the multitudes of people who yearn to come to America, to be free, to work, and to support their families. The various attempts to deal with the immigration issue have failed because they always propose some short-term solution that is either proven wrong or ignores our duties to our own citizens. We as a nation should be moving towards an immigration system that addresses the problem of those who have come here illegally, but at the same time doesn't discourage those who want to come here within the law. As most of our ancestors did, today we've inherited a state of affairs where the issue has been ignored so long that the number of illegal immigrants who are here is so large and is coupled with so much overheated rhetoric, quite frankly, on both sides, that it makes it very difficult to chart any type of solution, any course of solution. Today, I will chart a course designed to protect the security of our nation, to reject the policies of Donald Trump, and to describe a policy that will provide a fair, humanitarian, and equitable way to treat those who have come to our country. Now, we have to recognize that America's heritage of offering hope and freedom and security to people throughout the world is a key element of our national pride and the foundation of our national and economic success, because we need people to power our nation's economy, and because our history is that of a nation of immigrants. We should always welcome those who come here legally and those who want to become citizens, join our culture, help serve and protect our nation and our constitutional system of government. As a candidate for the Republican nomination for president, it's incumbent on me to state my own concrete proposals to solve these problems. So I begin with the proposition that our primary duty is to keep Americans safe and prosperous, and I'm convinced it can be done while at the same time maintaining our nation's ability to welcome those who are determined to gain their freedom from oppression, persecution, and poverty. But I want to pause for just a moment. Let me be clear that the issue of immigration policy is only one of the challenges that I'm addressing as a candidate for president. I'm committed to restoring the economy of the United States, to prosperity and growth that's been stifled for the past 6.5 years. We need a robust growth of jobs and opportunities in an economy that has never recovered from the Great Recession. I have a specific plan which relies upon our free market principles to encourage investment and to liberate our people from taxation. So first, I think we have to admit that there is a problem. You may have seen the report this past week that said that the American economy produced only 142,000 jobs when the average for the past year has been over 200,000. We're beginning to go back down again. The average last year was about 260,000 jobs per month. Now we're down to 142. And as usual, the previous report has now been adjusted down for August to 136,000. We got a real problem here, folks. There's not real labor participation in this country at the levels that we want to have. Wages are stagnant. Everybody that we see that's working knows that they're not getting increased wages. There's some promise in high-skilled jobs in this country, but the loss of teachers that we suffered during the Great Recession has never recovered. And I say to you now, and I want to focus you on this, we have been deliberately passing tax laws in this country to make it harder for this economy to grow. You need to know this because nobody else is going to tell you, but it's true. We have put more and more taxes on investment in this country to discourage investment. We have decreased the ability for people to invest under some theory of soaking the rich, while at the same time, it just means that people who have money to invest don't get to invest. Obamacare is retarding the development of growth of this country. Overregulation is retarding the development of growth of this country. New taxes on investment have been put into place over and over again, and then we wonder how come we're not coming out of the Great Recession. Responsible national leadership says that we must do that, because, ladies and gentlemen, we all here in this room, one constant theme of the Latino community is fighting for the American dream and wanting to be a part of the American dream. I insist to you that every citizen and every candidate in this country ought to be standing for the American dream, and we're not doing it yet, and I believe in it. We say that the next generation will always be better than the last, but right now, that is not what is going on. The second key issue facing our country are the burgeoning international crisis that we see that's being presented to us by a resurgent Russian imperialism that makes the headlines this very day, Chinese ambitions of domination in the Pacific, and Iran that's determined to get a nuclear weapon, and a Middle East coming to pieces, which is spawning an international guerrilla war. And as the governor during the 9/11 attack, and as chairman of the National Commission on Terrorism for the United States, I am very sensitive to these issues. As a soldier who was stationed in NATO during the Cold War, I am very well aware of these issues, well-traveled across the world, both as governor and since that time in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, meeting with high officials in Israel and across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the Republican candidates for president are rank amateurs in foreign policy. But I may be an outsider, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm no amateur. I've been at this a long time. And on the Democratic side, looks like they're going to nominate Hillary Clinton, who used to be Secretary of State, but these problems that I'm describing to you have grown up under her administration and that of the President. And they must be addressed in an appropriate way. One of the reasons why I'm offering for President. As Governor of Virginia, I addressed many issues, as well as having the experience of being the governor during the 9/11 attack and chairman of the National Commission on Homeland Security and Terrorism. I helped to shape the American response to these challenges. President Obama has, through his actions, and sometimes his inactions, made the state of our nation worse. His neglect of real solutions of the illegal immigration issue have affected our economy, our national security, and our personal freedoms. A nation that doesn't enforce its borders and immigration laws can't claim to be a nation. No other country of the world ignores these things. The biggest problem is the President's disregard of our Constitution by his illegal use of the executive order to suspend our immigration laws unilaterally, which is unconstitutional and a neglect of the rule of law. But, unlike some Republicans, I do not believe mass deportation is the answer. I do not believe that. As a candidate for president, I've offered a specific plan which I'll take to the Congress and to the American people, and I have great respect for the Latino community and culture and the many contributions that Latinos have made and are making to our nation. As president, I will work to see that Latinos are fully integrated successfully and with respect into the society of the United States of America. Having said that, I clearly understand that some of my solutions will be well received here today, and some will not. But as a former Attorney General, my watchwords yesterday, today, and tomorrow are simple. We have to follow the law. And when the law isn't addressing the problems we face, then the law has to be changed. So, my immigration policy. Number one, first, I do not support mass deportation of people who have been here for years, working, building families, obeying their laws, and sending their children to school. However, it is time for illegal immigrants to register as such and to obtain a work permit. I do not favor amnesty that will result in a path to citizenship. That must be reserved for people who have come to this country within our laws. Now, this proposal on the existing problem is necessitated because of the interaction of our national leaders in both parties. And now we deal with our friends, our neighbors, and their families, and it must be addressed in a proper way. Second, we have to secure our borders. Future illegal immigration should not be permitted, and the people who manage to slip through a secured border will have to be deported forthwith in the future. We must be willing to obey and execute the laws of the United States. Third, listen up. Third, I do not favor changing the rules of birthright citizenship to make children born in the United States non-citizens. This is an attack on the 14th Amendment that I do not support. Down through history, countries who wish to disfavor certain people remove their citizenship so they can be singled out and often mistreated. I will not go down that path. I will lead vigorously our work to secure our borders. Anyone here that commits a crime, whether an illegal alien or not an illegal alien, should be treated equally under the law, convicted, and if here and guilty of a crime, deported upon the completion of their sentence. As president, I will stop the illegal practice of creating sanctuary cities, which is a matter of policy, disregard the federal laws of immigration. The murder of young Catherine Steinle in California earlier this year was allegedly committed by someone in a sanctuary city. Now, those who want to make headlines by appearing tough on immigration, but for the camera toughness, doesn't reach the solution that I'm offering in an even-handed way. I reject Donald Trump's idea to deport all illegal immigrants. He said that he would do this within 2 years, but how? There are between 10 and 20 million illegal immigrants. To accomplish this goal, Trump would turn America into a police state with tens of thousands of police and informants prying into every household to identify and seek to deport our neighbors. That is not America, and that is not how a free society should operate. I also disagree with Mr. Trump's anti-constitutional condemnation of birthright citizenship. While I do not support the abuse of this right by those who come to our country just to have children and seeking citizenship from any part of the world, I believe this can be addressed without attacking our Constitution and our constitutional rights. Protecting our citizens must be our first priority, and that means all of our citizens. This outrageous proposal by Donald Trump advocating the repeal or reinterpretation of birthright citizenship in America is wrong-headed and shows a deplorable lack of understanding of our nation's history. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution was written after the Civil War to make it very clear that every person born in this country has a right to the protections of citizenship. Giving the government the right to remove citizenship from persons born in the United States dangerously undermines American liberty. Who is next to be deprived of American citizenship? Trump sends his message to young Americans of foreign heritage. By sending that message, it's the cheapest sort of political pandering and political opportunism and should be soundly rejected. Now, as a matter of politics, straight up, I know you're not going to hear any politics today, but I'll start a little. Now, as a matter of politics, I want everybody here to know that I refuse to align the Republican Party with these radical doctrines. What kind of message are Republicans sending to Americans of Latino descent when we attack their children and say they're not worthy of American citizenship? Can it be interpreted in any other way? I reject this message. It makes it impossible to win the election of 2016 as a matter of politics. I, as a Republican candidate for president, hope it isn't already too late. But only the strongest rejection of these ideas gives Republicans a chance to win the presidential election of 2016, and every Republican candidate for president should be standing on this stage with me right now saying the same thing. Several years ago, ladies and gentlemen, several years ago, I was invited to speak to a community college group that came in from California. It was young people who came in, and they called me and said, would you come over and speak to these young people who want to visit their nation's capital? So I went. It was about 15 young people from the community college. They were all of Latino heritage. And I told them what I believed in for America and what the Republican message was and how we hope for opportunity and entrepreneurship and liberty and freedom and growth and excitement and wealth creation. And at the end of it, one young lady raised her hand. She was clearly, from everything that I could see about her body language, she probably was in a family of people who had come to this country illegally, or maybe had a relative that did. And she said, well, I heard everything you said, but I just have one question. Why do Republicans hate us so much? I've never forgotten that. Because it means that while Republicans don't hate people who come to this country, and particularly don't hate people in the Latino community, the way we talk to people in this country matters. The tone that we give matters. How can we expect people to like us, to support us, and to help us build this country when we send a message like Donald Trump sent when he entered this race? It certainly is no way to appeal to the better angels of our nature. My proposals today to address this critical issue are common sense. No rounding up of millions of our neighbors in the night. I reaffirm the rule of law. No sanctuary cities, no automatic amnesty for citizenship. I reassert the integrity of American sovereignty, a secure border. And as a former prosecutor and attorney general, I stand for public safety. Get those who commit crimes, no matter where they come from or who they are, off the streets. But with reason and compassion, I'm confident that we can follow the law. And in doing that, lead America to resolution of the issue and liberate ourselves to address the most compelling issues that face our nation today. Our citizens, all of our citizens, deserve no less. Thank you very much for the chance to be here with you today. By the way, just to show you how truly intrepid I am, I said that I would be happy to take a couple of questions from the audience, if that would be appropriate. We got about just a few minutes, if anybody. So I'm not sure if there's a microphone out there. If you want to shout, that's okay with me. But I'd like to hear from you. By the way, I don't have all the answers, okay? But I will try to pretend that I do. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ashley Bustamante. I am thankful that you came to talk to us. But I have a question about these people you call criminals. You bring up the case that happened in California. And even though you say that we shouldn't address people as Donald Trump has addressed the Latino community, I feel that by bringing that case and talking about criminals that you call illegal aliens is a bit upsetting. Because my question, I guess, is who are those people that we're going to be arresting and taking them back? Who are those criminals? And when they are taken away, are they going to receive the same judgment if they were of any other color?
The answer to that second part is clearly yes. As a former attorney general, as a former prosecutor, and frankly, as a defense counsel, I have faith in the criminal justice system. And I believe that people will be treated equitably and fairly, and I would not suggest anything except equitable and fair treatment for people no matter what. And the first part of your question is, well, making reference to that case. Let's get real here. The people of the United States would not like someone being here without proper authority and then committing a crime of violence. They wouldn't like that because it's an emotional lift. It's emotional concern that we see. So naturally, that's something that has to be addressed. It has to be addressed in order to give people peace of mind and let them know that we are, in fact, going to address this issue in a proper way. But the truth is that I believe that everyone is entitled to the same rights under the Constitution. In fact, these remarks today are intended to say clearly that I care about the rule of law and the Constitution. And I believe everybody has that right. So the point is, everybody that commits a crime is going to be treated the same and fairly under the law. I would never dream of singling anybody out because of their ethnicity. Any other questions?
Over here. I'm not sure if you can see me, but
I don't see you, but I think I can hear you. Okay.
I'm over here to your left. My name is Raul Gonzalez. I'm a teacher with the California Teachers Association. I'm also a benefactor of the 1986 Amnesty Act. The godfather of the Republican Party, Ronald Reagan, granted me that amnesty. I can tell you now, as I said, I am a teacher. My brother's a teacher. My sister's a teacher. My sister's a teacher's aide. My other sister's a paralegal. We all seem to be productive citizens as a result of this act. These stories are all over the place. Everywhere you hear of these 3 million people, a great percentage of them were very positive stories as a result of that Amnesty Act of '86. What is so bad about amnesty, and why does the Republican Party tend to take such a strong stance against it if clearly we've seen some benefits, and not to mention the fact that I pay a lot of taxes?
Thank you.
I think that what is bothering people is the notion that we're going to ignore the rule of law. Why do we have the notion of who can be admitted into this country and who cannot if we don't have immigration laws that we're prepared to respect? Americans of any ethnic background believe in the protections of the rule of law. Now, we could simply repeal all the immigration laws and say that anyone who can get to this country, no matter what, no matter how, gets to be a citizen of the United States. I don't think anybody has proposed anything as radical as that. So what that tells you is, since we can't simply become the refuge of all oh God, how many people in the world today, then there have to be some rules, and those rules have to be respected. I have no question in my mind that people who enjoyed the benefit of the amnesty under President Reagan, under Governor Reagan, then President Reagan, certainly have added to this country. And the remarks that I've said here, make it very clear that young people born in this country, I consider them an asset to this country, and that's why I'm so repelled by the Trump position on birthright citizenship and want to make sure that that is rejected. So the point is this: if we did an amnesty then, we do an amnesty now, and then we'll do an amnesty later, then at that point we may as well simply just say, look, this is it. The United States is an open border country. Anyone that can come here can get to be a citizen of the United States. I don't think anybody has suggested that. Therefore, there has to be some framework, structure, or rules, and that is part of the debate and the discussion going on in the United States today. But I congratulate you on your success, and I look forward to the success of so many others in this country. And I'm out of time. Hey, look, I'll be with you all day if you want me to. You don't want to hear from Bernie Sanders. Not really. Not really. Not really. Not really. O'Malley's okay. No, I'm just kidding. But sure, listen, it's up to them. It says 0. I'll take one more question if they'll permit it.
Hello? Okay. Hi, I'm Mateus Baptista, graduate fellow for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and undocumented, now documented, thanks to President Obama's executive order. And I come as a recent graduate, 2 degrees actually from Brown University. And so I wonder, I always ask the question, what more do people like us have to do to prove to people like you that we too deserve to be here? But my question is, the Republican Party is so concerned with the rule of law, right? And we know that there are things called just and unjust laws, and that comes from Reverend Martin Luther King. But how can you talk about rule of law and still perhaps make exceptions, understanding that there are laws that are unjust and that there are laws in which we should fight against, even if they are the law? Thank you.
Congratulations on your success, and I'm glad that you have been successful. But we have to make rules not for any one individual who is a success. We have to make rules for the entire society that we live in. We have to have an immigration law that determines who gets to come into the United States and who does not. We have to have that law. And that is, I think, the answer. Now, with respect to unjust laws, I think that's fine. Society goes through a reevaluation of this all the time in order to determine what laws should be changed or what laws should not be changed. And we do speak out to people who are elected representatives. This is certainly a congressionally sponsored operation, organization, and institute. And we do speak out to the people who are out there to make our laws and to assess the changes within those laws. But at the end of the day, I think it should be no one's position that says that we have no laws that are connected to this. We have to enforce the rules of law, otherwise we're not really a civilization. So that is my answer. But I do want to congratulate you, and I want to congratulate the leaders who are here in this room. It is out of respect for you and respect for your success and for your leadership of the community that I have come here today. I'm proud to know you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.